Hey, what up, Long Beach? Welcome back to the 562.org. It's Eli, and this CIF high school softball video is brought to you by the fine folks over at Naples Rib Company, and all of our poly coverage is sponsored by Bryson Financial. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And we had a semifinal matchup of softball over in Encino in the CIF Southern Section Division 4 bracket, where Long Beach Poly hit the road against Harvard Westlake. The Jackrabbits coming in having outscored their first three opponents 25-5 in the playoffs, and good news for them, one of their best bats is back in the lineup. Kiele Ho-Ching nursing an injury but is back to DH today, and that impact would sure be felt in a tight matchup in the semifinals here against a tough Wolverine team who could hit themselves. We were sure lined up for some runs in this one, and starting in the first inning when Persia Lamsam reached on an error before Imani Lamsam drew a walk, relation there. 2 outs later in the same inning, Bailey Holder keeps her bat hot as she smacks this one into right field. Persia would come around and score. Imani gets sent. However, it's a great throw by Harvard Westlake's Morgan Hill to get it there in time at home plate. The home team gets the third out. However, the Jackrabbits leave the half inning with a 1-run lead. The Wolverines would respond quick though right after, starting with a Kalea Tyndale single to lead off the bottom of the first. They get their first runner on base right after in that first frame. A hit by pitch would then put 2 on for Harvard Westlake before this Peyton Perry at 2 RBI double brings those 2 runs in. So Tyndale and Fisher Hinnon put the Wolverines ahead after the first inning. Just like that, we have a ball game going back and forth on our hands. Fast forward to the bottom of the second with 1 on. Tyndale's back up at the plate and rips this one to center field. That's gone. The 2-run homer also scores Emma Sang and increases the Harvard Westlake lead to 3 as they now lead it 4-1. She was a baller over there. After another walk though, Ainsley Nutting smacks this one into right center field. Another big hit for the home team that scores Hinnon. Harvard Westlake walks out of the inning with a 5-1 lead, forcing Poly to need a big response after that, as they're certainly desperate for some runs, trailing by 4, and a big response they would get by none other than Kiele Ho-Ching herself. Just an absolute difference maker is the OU commit, who takes this one yard to center field, a 2-run home run in the top of the third to score her and Imani Lamsam and cut the lead to 2 for the Jackrabbits. It was the perfect spark they needed, and one she'd bring again for the Jackrabbits as Queen Tola starts a whole new rally in the same inning for the Jackrabbits at second base. Keeping things going, Janelle Morris then going to hit her in with a double of her own. The 4th straight hit for the Jackrabbits in the inning as they're just humming runners along. Morris with a big impact there in that double. She'd have another hit and show up later in the inning. Hyped about this one though. Elena Veevealagi keeps the line moving though with this pop-up over to right field. The sac fly would bring in Brooklyn Bernas for another run and tie the ball game up now 5-5. Just the first out of the inning, however. And then Sunny Va'afuti's turn next, right over the infield to left field. Another base hit for the Jackrabbits. This one would cap off the inning and score Holder, which took the lead for the Jackrabbits in the third as they turned things around. They're now leading 6-5 after trailing by 4 heading into the inning. And they were not done. In the next inning, the top of the 4th, Janelle Morris, I got you this time. Morris, her 2nd straight game with a home run. This one, a 2-run homer to score her and Tola. The Jackrabbits were once trailing 5-1 in this game and now lead it 8-5 after the 4th, like I said, just turning things around. But in the bottom of the frame, you've seen it before, Tyndale another home run on a leadoff fly ball to left field. That one gets her team back in it as we just see both teams trading blows. Now it's Poly's turn, just so resilient and focused in, if you will. They'd find a response in the 5th as Imani Lamsam smacks a 2 RBI double down the line to score Va'afuti early in the inning. In the same inning, Kiele Ho-Ching would be intentionally walked before this pitch scrapes Tola. She'd get on with the hit by pitch, getting on base and loading the bases now with 2 outs. And then it's deja vu at the next at bat. Morris wears one of her own to move those base runners around. This one's going to bring in Lamsam for the Jackrabbits' 10th run of the day, reaching double digits. And then it's Holder up next at bat and smacks this one to shortstop. Safe at second base over there. Meanwhile, Ho-Ching and Tola come in to score to finish out the inning, and now a commanding 12-6 lead after the 5th inning. Certainly just felt like they were in control. Bottom of the 6th though, Tyndale draws another leadoff walk for the Wolverines. She'd steal second before this Hinnon bunt. Looks like it was a for sure put out, however the throw gets away at first base. Tyndale plenty of speed to come around and score. That'd be the only run of the inning as Poly still leads it 12-7, but a little bit of a spark there for the home team. But they wanted to lead by more, did Poly. Top of the 7th inning, Ho-Ching leads off, and you should have walked her again. The junior with her 2nd homer of the day went 3 for 3. 3 runs, 3 RBI, all in front of her family over there in left field. This one puts the Jackrabbits up 13-7 now, heading into the bottom half of the frame, and it felt like the win was pretty much secure. At least I felt that way, but an incredible push made by Harvard Westlake in the bottom of the 7th. With their backs against the wall, Tyndale with one of their 5 hits in the frame, this one the first to bring in runs as it scores Ava Molina. One of 5 runs scored by Harvard Westlake in the frame. Hinnon had one of 5 hits in the inning for Harvard Westlake. This one to score another run for the Wolverines, just humming runners around. Dylan Fisher also with one of those hits, this one to score another run and cut the lead to 13-12. Insanity here as the Wolves battled with 2 outs in the game, putting 2 on with a chance to walk it off. Just crazy what they were able to do in that final frame. Tegan Bro was in the circle for the Jackrabbits and showed so much resilience, and one last time to close out the game, the pop-up goes to Va'afuti, stepping up for a one hell of a catch, and Long Beach Poly is headed to the ship. An emotional win, certainly one heck of a challenge in Harvard Westlake, but the Jackrabbits overcome an early 5-1 deficit and late push to beat the Wolverines 13-12. Again, just want to applaud the fight put up by Harvard Westlake, but Long Beach Poly is headed to the championship game next weekend against Warren, and get hyped up. Congratulations to Long Beach Poly. You know we'll be at that game, and when you want coverage of that championship game, you are already in the right spot, the562.org.